All right. We are here with Julie Giordano. I did say your name right, right?
Yes, you did. Yep.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Julie is for our county executive here in Wycomico County. Now, before we go any farther, Julie, I just want to make sure you do understand that this is a recorded interview. I want to make sure that you are aware that we are recording this, and it's going to be used to actually to help to inform the community on your thoughts as you are embarking on your campaign to become our county exec. Is that okay with you?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. All right, first of all, I want to tell you that we do appreciate you as a teacher, teaching the young people and having the patience. I know as a young person, I wasn't always the model student, but we do appreciate you working with them. And I do know of a couple of young people that know you personally that say that you're a pretty good teacher.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. They're wonderful, but good students make a good teacher. So I think a lot of it is them. They're hard workers and really give me 100%. So
Well, let me ask you this before. Actually, it's not going to be in the same order I got them written down here. But since we're talking about education, how do you feel
sure.
that your working in the school system is going to help you when you're elected as county executive?
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of people ask me that. Why a teacher? Why? How can a teacher be run the county? And
Hmm.
I tell them all the time, who better than a teacher? I work with different people every single day, and I have to motivate people from all socioeconomic levels.
Right.
And I work very hard in order to make sure that they are successful. And I think that those are the type of tools that make an excellent county executive, somebody who understands what it takes to motivate people to do their very best.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Well, and as we're still here on education,
Hmm.
down the area that we're talking about here, we're talking about past Quantico Road, down 349 Nanticoke Road.
Hmm.
There is a concern with, first of all, overcrowding over at Bennett for our high school students. There's a concern with just how the school system is handling our students. Again, you do teach at one of our schools here in Wycomico County. What do you think about this overcrowding issue? And while you're still talking about that, I want you to also comment on the Mardella situation.
Yeah, sure. So JMB is very tricky. So that's the school I actually teach at. So I see the overcrowding, every single day. It is just a county-wide problem, and it's hard because when you look at JMB or when you look at Parkside and even Y High, I think they've tried their very best to try to spread kids out. They've tried, a little bit of redistricting and moving some kids around. But yeah, our kids on the west side, kind of, it's very frustrating for them. I mean, their school is so far away. I don't know distance wise. I think Bardella is probably about equally distant. And Mardella, of course, is overcrowded as well, actually, even more so. Some of my friends who teach out there, their classes are sitting at anywhere between, 28 to 30 kids, which of course makes it difficult, especially in, COVID times. And so I'm hoping that with this, this revamping of Mardella, it will help a little bit with that. Obviously, it's, making the school a little bit bigger. Um, I think I would have pushed for a new building completely, but that's not what they asked for. The board, this kind of was already in the works. I think Bob Culver wanted a brand new building,
Yes,
and then using the old building as the middle school, and then building a new high school. Unfortunately, that was kind of taken off the table, and so they have decided to use. I think it's about $18 million. When I attended that budget meeting, that they're going to use to revamp Mardella, which will help I don't know what honestly the answer is for our kids down Nanticoke Road. I mean, what would be ideal, of course, is to have another school. We do need another high school. It's kind of hard when the three high schools are within a mile radius of each other. So I think it was definitely poor planning. But
well, and when
I'm
you
not
say,
really sure. Go ahead.
and when you, I apologize.
No, 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 go ahead.
You said something about Mardella, and as far as from the research and some of the things that I was told, there was a plan by Bob Culver when he was county executive for a new school now, Mardella. Now I just noticed that you said that they were going to use the old building for the middle school. I thought that that was the whole reason why they wouldn't move because they didn't want to lose that building, but they wouldn't have lost it if they had got that middle school. Now,
Right.
did I hear 12 billion?
No, 18 million.
18
18
million.
million.
Okay,
It's
that's
in
a lot less,
yeah,
but that's still a
two
lot. It's still a lot.
yeah, two separate phases. Yeah, I think they're getting 10 first and then 8 to kind of wrap up the project, from what I understood.
Okay.
And that's over the next, couple years. So.
Okay. Now, one of my concerns is, and I know I need to, and I definitely will be talking to others, is when we're talking about the overcrowding of these schools, could it be? And I know I mean, I got other questions here, but we're talking again about the kids down there on the west side, which we're talking about the Quantico, Royal Oak, Weetipquin, Bival, Nanticoke area. That's when I say west side. But my concern is are these schools overcrowded because of the districting, because of minorities? Because they've had some kids that are living in some areas that they wanted to make sure that the schools were mixed. Is that why some of the schools are overcrowded?
I don't know if that's the only reason. I really think a lot of it is, Salisbury is growing. I mean, we're just a growing population. We've got more and more people kind of pouring in. And I think that that's, which that's a whole other issue because, it brings in other things like the Horizon Bill and things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, people are a little concerned about the growth and the rapid rate that it's growing because we're forgetting, that's great for the city of Salisbury, but we are kind of neglecting our schools here. I'm not really sure if that's 100% really the answer. I know that there was, when they were looking at the redistricting lines, they were trying to balance a lot of different areas, making sure that,
Right.
there wasn't just, one specific part, going to one school. And so they did try to divide that up. But
Right.
unfortunately, I do think at most, at all three high schools, they are at, capacity. They definitely are. And like I said, it would really be ideal to add another school, but I don't know, how, if that's even in the works. Even if, it would have to be wait, it would have to wait till I got in there to even see,
And,
what the deal would be.
and see, one of the things I've been told is that the school system works totally separate from the county. Is that correct?
I think, yeah, well, yes, which is not something that I 100% love. So it was like I was saying before. I have an issue because, they shouldn't work separately because the school board takes half of the county's budget. Literally 56 million is handed to the school system. Like, that this is what you need. Go ahead but there's no questions asked after that. So yeah,
No
they kind of do their
accountability.
own thing. Yeah. Well, there's not a lot of accountability. There's just not a lot of communication. I think there's a lot of trust, which is great. I love the fact that they feel that they can trust each other. But I do feel like with that amount of money, and our taxes going to that, I feel like parents and community, citizens in the community have that right to know kind of what's going on. What are their tax dollars being spent on? And so we do need that, transparency. So it's not just going to be, here's your piece of the pie and then just close the door on it. You know what I mean? It needs to be constant communication. And I do feel like things have been separated out a little bit more than what I like.
Okay. Now there's also I just thought of this. This wasn't in my notes or anything, but we're talking about education, and again, I get it that there's certain things that, or actually everything needs to be voted upon, but there's about 100 acres that has been the county owns. That's down in District Two's area, actually down in our area, down I think Whitehaven. 100 acres is a nice big chunk of land.
Hmm.
And not only is that 100 acres there, but also there's Poplar Hill facility, which
Yeah.
was a rehabilitation or a pre-release place that's not
Hmm.
been in use. It's actually, from what I've heard through the grapevine, that was offered to our county for $1.
For $1. Yeah.
And of course, I know there were some things that they wanted done with it, but not sure if we did any investigating or what else we could do to it. But my point is we're talking about overcrowding. We're talking about, and the reason why, one of the reasons why I asked about the districting is if the people of the west side, and again, we can stretch that even up to um, Nitsdale or we can Pemberton even. But if they
Hmm.
had a school, we got this 100 acres that we're not sure what we're going to use it for. We have this building that I'm not even sure if there's electric running to it, but if there is, that's just taxpayers' money, whether it's on the Maryland state level, which I'm pretty sure it is, or not. But why don't we use one of these areas? And as county exec, I don't know if that's outside of your range, but would you be questioning these things?
Well, I definitely think I'm going to be questioning the use of the area. I definitely have looked at Poplar Hill and I've looked at, what they wanted to do with it. I saw, that Bob wanted to make it a drug rehab facility. I know that some people had concerns with that. Not so much. I heard I think it was Ernie's interview where he was talking about, oh, we didn't want to bring people down from Baltimore. It wasn't so much that we didn't want to bring people down from Baltimore. It's that once they finish the program, they do not have to go back to Baltimore. They could be released into our community. And so that was the biggest thing. It was kind of like what was happening afterwards. And I don't know if there is a way to even change that to where they would have to go back, on the other side, from which they came. I don't know. So I don't even know if that's an option, but I definitely think, it's definitely a wasted facility, and
It
looking
really is
at
right now. It really is.
it really is. And the biggest thing for that is going to be cost. It's going to be, what is it going to cost to
Sure.
turn it into something or make
Sure.
it into something? And so kind of doing like what needs to be done is like a fiscal assessment of what can be done. And and that would definitely be something I would look at, because I hate seeing a wasted space. Something that could be used for something, especially if there's a need.
Well, and there was a comment that was made. It really didn't stand right. That's why I want to bring it out now. It's an older building. Now, from what I understand, there is grants that we could get from, as far as being a county, to fix up older buildings. So could that not work to our benefit to invest in that? How old is this building? Is it historic? I don't think it's historic, but
no, it's not historic. But I definitely think it would be worth looking into. Which
it's big
is
enough
one
for
of
a
the things
campus.
that one of the things that I really, am planning on doing is, for when there are situations like that, we do need to have some sort of liaison between us and Annapolis. There's such a disconnect right now between our county and Annapolis. The lack of communication is really not great, and we're not seeking out really great opportunities. I was talking to the new mayor of Del Mar and the town commissioners of Del Mar. They have a building very similar to like your community center, and they want to get it fixed up. And there are legislative bond initiatives to do so. And these are things that, that you can speak out and get this money, to fix these things up. There's things there, so we just need to have either a county executive or somebody working for the executive looking for those opportunities to bring that money into Wacomico County. We have so many missed opportunities here. And it's a shame. It is a shame because, there are just, things that we could do to make our town great, as opposed to not just focusing on the city of Salisbury. Because I feel like that's where a lot of that focus is in the city of Salisbury, as opposed to the outskirts.
Now, now that you're actually bringing, and again, it's good to see anything actually fixed up. However, the comment I've also heard is that there was a part of Salisbury that was fixed up. Actually, it's over the Church Street area. And these areas were fixed up because there was a fund that was given, and the only reason why they was given to them is because it was, as the words were said to me, it's a block. Now, my concern is, yes, we are spread out down here in the country, but there's a lot of houses that are just like what was on Church Street in those areas that are been standing for over 50 plus years. As I was a kid, they were already getting growth around them. My concern is, especially when you think about things that like happened in the past, like in Accomack County, where you have some crazies out there. I'm sorry, I can't think of a prettier word for it. That see these buildings as something that they could, make some havoc for the community. My concern is that there was a fund that took care of Church Street area, and I get it. The current legislation or the current bills, there's nothing to say, hey, you got to clean this up. Is that something that maybe as an executive, as you could say, look, the people don't want that there? Because down there is a beautiful spot. When I say down there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, down by the water, it is beautiful.
You're a resident of Hebron, so you're actually you're actually one of our neighbors. Beautiful, beautiful land down there, and it's questions I got about the districting there in Hebron as well, but that's for another day. But as you travel down Nanticoke Road, there's a lot of beautiful sights. There's Rowing Point, like I said. There's Wetumpka Boat Ramp. That's probably one of the best crabbing spots you can find. There's Tyaskins Wharf. There's so many great spots, but there's eyesores that have been sitting there for years that are now
Yeah.
landmarks, but it's not a really good reflection on the beautiful community. I mean, community of Weetipquin in that area around there. I
Hmm.
mean, the people are asking questions. You know, I mean, it was told to me that there was a time, probably a few years back, when I say a few, maybe 2 or 3 years back, that not sure if it was Sheriff Lewis's guys, but they said that the sheriffs were going around and they were ticketing cars that had no tags on them down there. Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome if they're doing that, but what about these buildings that, what if our kids down that way, which it should be good in a community like that, especially when it doesn't have many cars, that your kids are wandering around playing. You know, these buildings are open. As kids don't understand rules as much. I mean, it's great to bring them up in the right way, but these buildings are exposed or open. That then becomes a health hazard.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Well, and also, I
mhm.
mean, just kind of touching on that, if these buildings were in the town of Hebron, the town commission would take care of it, right? So they would have, it in the charter where certain things are allowed, certain things are not allowed. So one of the things that I plan to do, because I do feel like there is a lack of representation all the way down Nanticoke Road, I would really like to see
Wow,
somehow to
wow,
form, some sort of, not necessarily, not just one town municipality, but I would like a representative to be elected in kind of a, whether it be a special election or whatever, and
right,
have them all come together in a commission and kind of make their charter for down there, talking about, the west side area down there in Cookwood, because there are all these little towns, Whitehaven and Tituscan, and and I do feel like they're underrepresented and they're forgotten about. And so I feel like if you have a commission or somebody, that comes together, to kind of say, hey, this is what we want for our town. And then you've got your county council person, whether it be, Councilman Ackley or someone else, kind of following through with that. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely.
So,
I
so
mean, I
you're
do
saying
feel
like
like,
you're
sorry, go ahead.
I apologize. I apologize. So you're proposing to actually, like, within the little township of Weetipquin or township of Tyaskin and township of Jesterville and township of Bival, all those to have like someone that their community has appointed or elected and as their representative. That person would actually be involved with that little small. I mean, yes. I mean, one of the problems is from what I understand, the reason why there isn't a mayor or a commissioner down there is because there's so many small little townships. My question is, and it's kind of funny because you have that area that has 3 post offices. Well,
Mm-hmm.
and they may have closed one. I'm not sure. I think Tyasking is closed. So they're saying the reason why there's no representation for each one is because there's so not many people in each one. But you're saying if there's a person that represents each township who comes together maybe once a month and
Exactly.
and talks about what's the problems down there, and then kind of works with our council person. And
Exactly.
okay,
Exactly. They should have that representation because it's too, yes, okay, so there are little towns that have a small amount of people, but that's not to say that their voices are any less important. And it's very hard for, any county councilwoman. I think, Councilwoman Ashley does a great job at
phenomenal.
getting down, and coming down and talking and, making her voice known and, very much representing the people of District 2. I think she does a great job. But I think, the people who live there, she can't be everywhere. So what I would like, yes, is to have a representative from each of the townships kind of come together to form their own council, to kind of represent down there, because I do feel like there are a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you guys are on the map now because, oh, we need broadband down there. We need this down there. We need that down there. So this would be the perfect opportunity to say, okay, well, if we have a broadband issue or if we have city water and sewer issue or if we have this, we need representation. We need people who live here to represent us to kind of come forward with these issues. So it really would be the best time to create that type of commission.
You know, there are 2 questions, and those are very good answers. There's 2 questions I'm going to ask, and then you said something made me want to flip flop them. I'm going to actually flip flop them first.
Okay.
All right. Since we're talking about the sewer and drainage, one of the problems we have down there, yes, water and sewage is. I know that's on the plate there, but drainage.
Mhm.
There's a lot of land, great land down there, but a lot of it's not perked very well because of drainage.
Yeah.
Now the ditches down that way. I've talked to a lot of the people, a lot of my neighbors down there, and actually, we were able to clear the ditch in front of she may be 86. I want to say 85-year-old Miss Maddox, who is actually the last teacher that taught at our community center, the one that we're really fighting to get back revamped. But actually, Councilwoman Ackley had to really fight. I'm going to use that word fight to get funding. But we finally got the dishes cleaned out that way. But there is a drainage problem down there after the rain, and there are ditches in our community that are in desperate need of cleaning out. What do you what do you think?
Well, I mean, obviously, I mean, I think the one positive thing is because now the city water and sewer is on everybody's radar.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you guys will have, this is again, just, it's going to take somebody to hop on the opportunity where, hey, while we're focusing on this, let's look at this drainage issue. Let's look at these things that are going on, because this is what's going to cause a problem in the end. So I think all in all, it's actually the best time in order. Look, I'm all about the squeaky wheel gets the grease too. You know what I mean? So it's going to be like, make the, this is the perfect time to do that, because finally they're looking at some of the issues that are down there. You know what I mean? So this
We're
is
on the
definitely
map
the best
now.
opportunity to do it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you heard, council people are talking about it, making sure that so yes, I agree that this would be the best time to, to bring all of that forward, because it all kind of plays a role. It absolutely plays a role.
And then, we were, as we're talking about ditches and stuff, I'm thinking about something. If you go down Nanticoke Road itself, which is actually, that's a state highway, am I correct? Or a state route?
Yeah, because it's
So,
340. Yeah.
so that means that the state takes care of that road, that main road, correct?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know if they take care of it all the way down. Do they take care of it all the way down?
I
I don't know that
really think
answer.
so, because when I'm thinking about plowing, that would always get plowed before our
It
county
does get
roads.
plowed, yeah, and
Now,
it does get salted. So yeah, I would assume. I just didn't know if they take it all the way down to the
now
water or not.
here's one of the concerns that I'm pretty sure I'm not just speaking for myself on, is that if you
Mm-hmm.
look at the drainage situation all the way down Nanticoke Road, all the way down to, see, Whitehaven's very beautiful, and their ditches really look really good. And I mean, the question is that when it's on Maryland's property or on the state's property, the drainage situation, there is none. It's
Right.
just when
Everything
we
looks good. Yeah.
it's just when we got to the county, which goes back to the fact that before Councilwoman Ackley actually was able to get her feet wet, if you will,
Yeah.
there was a lot of like underrepresentation.
Mhm.
Um, we were talking about the school systems. There's roads, actually on Wetumpka Road, there's spots that as you're going around bends, that the road is so narrow, and if you're right as the kids are getting off the bus and coming down that road, since it takes 45 minutes to get from Bennett, sorry, I had to put that out there.
Yeah, I
um,
know.
it would only take 15 or 20 from Mardella. Just saying. But anyway,
Well, that is true. I know my husband went to Bennett and he lived down in Bivalve, so he hated that bus ride.
hey,
I get it. Yeah.
I like him already. We have to talk.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I know that last name. But yeah, as you're going around certain roads, the sun beams down, and the bus, if it's coming from one direction, a car from another, there is. Thank God there hasn't been as many as there could be. Not to mention we're talking about deer. Uh, One of the things that I was talking to Sheriff Lewis about, and he's working on, is the fact of response times down there. And this actually moves me into my
Mhm.
next comment I want to make here, as we're in the 23 minutes. We want to try to keep it under 30. But I was talking to Sheriff Lewis about the fact of there actually has been incidents where, in response time, since there's patrolling very minimal down there, because there's not a lot that happens down there, and when it does
Right.
happen, they seem to take care of themselves first, the Wild Wild West style. Anyway, um, when they did respond down there, they had a encounter with something that doesn't believe in law, which is called deer.
Mhm.
Our next thing I was talking about is our fire department. The West Side Fire Department is aging. We need more younger firefighters and paramedics. The other thing is that we may need more because of the fact that, number one, COVID rules. You don't have as many. However, there's two parts to that, because our actual existing firehouse isn't big enough.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Poplar Hill facility. It would be a great spot, liaison for the police department. It doesn't have to travel as far. There's the fire department that we really need to tackle. I mean, I think I actually had spoke to either you or Councilwoman Ackley about maybe even talking to Mayor Day of Salisbury and saying, hey, is any of your weekend warriors over at the National Guard Armory interested in coming over and being paramedics? Do you have any plans about trying to work with the West Side Fire Department?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I've actually chatted with them about a lot of the issues, with that. One thing, with the fire departments is they are so underfunded. I mean, they really are. They are so
They're
underfunded.
volunteered, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but just in general, and the thing is, though, it is not pushed in schools at all. That is one thing that I would really like to see. One thing that I have done as a teacher, talking to my students, because I teach 11th grade, my kids are 17 years old. They're
God
almost
bless
close
you.
to being able to, yeah, well, thank you. But, I'm, pushing. They don't even realize, my students don't even realize that it's an option to be a volunteer fireman or to be a cadet or, they don't even realize it, and they're not pushing it. My thing would be, I would really like to see, I don't know if it could be part of the CTE program, but I would like students to be able to get the opportunity, if they're leaving school early, to go, and train to be an EMT or to train to, with the volunteer firemen. It's not even given as an option, and I do feel like that would help, because what you're seeing is, it's dwindling, because you see maybe a kid or two whose dad has been in the fire department. That's who's joining. You know what I mean? And that's who, they're kind of bringing in.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't really see a big push for it in our community. So the first thing is that we need to get more people in there. You know what I mean? And then once we get more people in there, they can definitely get, we definitely need to push for some more funding, for the firemen. For the volunteer firemen, I would really like to give them just a tax break. We're one of the only counties that doesn't give our volunteer firemen a tax break. I mean, there's really no incentive.
Wow.
Like, what's the incentive of being a volunteer fireman?
Wow.
I mean, Montgomery County gives a $4,000 tax break.
Wow.
And we don't give anything. We give tax breaks to developers, but we won't give them to our volunteer firemen. So
that's kind of backwards.
I think, yeah. I mean, so it's things like that just need to kind of, I think, be looked at. And you were talking about the response time with the police. I've actually chatted with quite a few officers. I like the outpost idea. I don't know if they would ever go for it until they're fully staffed. I mean, they're so, I think Mike Scott or Sheriff Lewis has got 5 in the academy, I think, right now, and they're still going to be short. 4 in the academy,
I met
and
one
they're
the
still
other
5
day.
short. Yeah, I mean, until we get that fully staffed, I mean, it's just, I don't think they would ever be able to really do it. Well, you know what I mean? But you are right that the response time is an issue getting down there.
Well, one of the ideas, man, I'm trying to look at this time here. There's so many questions that I can't get into this, but that's okay. If you don't mind, we can talk again. One of the comments that Mr. Perry from down there had made a suggestion is, when we were growing up down there, the police officers that lived down there were the ones that patrolled. Now, the unique thing is that there are people that live down there. I mean, they're right now, believe me, the ERPs will let you know that there is Frank Wright Jr., who's a DNR. He's acting like the when I say that, I don't mean in a bad way. He's like the acting policing of the area. He takes care of a lot of things down there, and it's because he's from down there. So maybe that could be a suggestion. Maybe make that the area of the. It would save money. I mean, if these, I'm not sure if the officers, which I do know some of them do take their cars home, but especially those that got to go all the way down there with their cars, maybe their area needs to be their area down there. That would save the county money on gas, and that would make them more familiar. Maybe more of a, not a, oh my goodness, there's a police officer. More, hey, there's Detective Derek. There's Derek. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that was something they did in the past. Again, I guess you could call that the Andy Griffith approach, but if it worked for Mayberry, maybe it worked for us. All right, just trying to tie this up and finish this up.
Sure.
2 last questions, and I don't know if
Okay.
I will go over 30 minutes with that. What is your vision for Wycomico County?
Oh man, that's a big question.
See, I saved the best
be
for
the
last.
last question. Yeah. No, my vision for Wacomico County is to see Wacomico County thrive and grow. And I'm going to be honest with you. People ask me why I'm doing this. Why am I giving up a 17-year career? Why am I giving up 2 weeks off at Christmas or giving up my summers off? And I'm doing this because I don't like the direction our country and our state and even our county is going. For
Love it.
years I would sit around and just talk and complain and I wouldn't do anything about it. And so I'm done with being that person. I'm
Wow.
doing this, for my son and my stepkids and my students to show them, when you believe in something, you do it. You do something about it. And so this is a movement. This is something, we want to see Wacomico County grow, and we want them to, but I want them to grow, effectively. And I want it to be a great place. And not that it's not now. It's not
Oh, I
that.
know. I see
It's
what you're
that
saying. My goodness,
yeah,
yeah.
there's just some things that have happened, to me, as a teacher and as an educator in the last 2 years, which we know has been difficult on a lot of people.
Right.
And things that, have been, we've been digging into a lot of different things and we just don't like what's going on. So my vision for Wacomico County is to be, a place for the people. I think
Right.
sometimes our elected officials forget that they work for us. They work for us,
I love it.
and they need to represent us. And so that's the vision I want to bring back. That building, downtown is a people's building, and that, it is transparent. You can walk in, you're going to know exactly what is going on in this county. And, there are going to be people that turn their heads and say, I don't want to know. It's better for me not to know. And that's fine. But there are people that do want to know and do want to know where their taxpayers, the tax dollars are going, and making sure that, our kids are learning and making sure that our town is growing the way that it should at an effective rate that's not going to overcrowd or cause, congestion or issues, downtown. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons and a lot of, goals that I have for Wacomico. But like I said, one of the biggest ones is to just for people to remember that this is the county, of our people. You know what I mean? And I want them to be an active role in this community. And I think we've gotten away from that.
And as usually, you kind of answered my last question when in that little comment you made, because I was going to ask, communication with our community is very, very, very important.
Yeah.
After being elected as county exec, will we hear from you?
No, my gosh, absolutely. So one of my biggest things, and I don't want to give away too much, but a position that I would really like to see is a like kind of government legislative liaison. And what I want that person to do is not only to be in constant communication with Annapolis,
Uh huh.
looking out for different ways to bring money into our county, not just necessarily for bonds, but also for our nonprofits and just giving everybody the opportunities that are that are out there, bringing them here, but also keeping in touch with our town. I want to make, I have attended almost every town municipality. There's a couple that I haven't hit yet. And I plan to still do those same things. Shoot, I want to create another town municipality down by, down there, because the communication between the county is important. It can't
Wow.
just be the city of Salisbury. It can't just be Fruitland because they're the two biggest ones. We forget Parsonsburg and Pittsville
I
and Willard,
love it. Love this.
Sharptown. We do. And it's about bringing everybody together. Every single town, municipality will have a seat at my table. Every single one, because their needs and wants are not more important than the other. They're all important. And so I'm hoping that, like I said, that constant communication, will be a big key factor of my administration.
So it won't be like it is in a lot of the bigger governments where only Ocean City matters. All townships, cities, towns matter. Is that
Absolutely.
love it?
Absolutely. And, it's
Love it.
the smaller towns that tend to be neglected, and don't have a voice. What was really frustrating to me was I was looking at some data, and one of our most food insecure areas, everyone would think, oh, it's Salisbury, city of Salisbury. No, it's actually Willard. It's Willard's.
Wow.
And it's so frustrating to think that there's nothing. There's no food bank. There's no,
Wow.
church correlation, of going down there and bringing, food and, whatever down there. And it makes sense though. There's no grocery store down there. Gas is so high. It's hard to drive 15 miles into town,
Oh,
to go to the grocery store.
we only have one gas station. Trust me, or maybe
Yeah,
two. Maybe two.
exactly.
Wade's.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wade's.
Yeah. Yeah, and just the point, the point is that we forget about the outskirts sometimes, and that's one thing that I will not do.
Wow. Well, Julie, this could go on for an hour, but I trying to keep it decent and in order. I really do appreciate you spending time with us, and
Yeah, absolutely.
we are working on a meet and greet. I'm waiting for a call back on hopefully February 5th looking good. There's seems to be people wanting to hear. I'm really hoping that you could be there for that.
Absolutely.
We
I
want to
already
hear.
have it marked on my calendar in pencil. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome of me, and I know there's more. There's more than just you that feels this way about the board, and I would love to get a chance to talk to them as well.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you for taking this time out. Is there anything last things you would like to say before we close out?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, just know that I am working hard every single day right now, for people, trying to get answers for people now. And I want, at this meet and greet, I want people to come, at me with hard questions. Ask me those hard questions. And I'm going to find out those answers. I might not know the answer right then and there, but I will find out. And that's kind of what I've been doing here is digging here and trying to figure out, different, different ways to solve things and being creative and, finding out answers for people. So yes, there is not a question that I will not address.
This is awesome. This is awesome. Okay. Well, again, it's probably maybe it's gonna be sooner than later that I would love to sit down and talk to you again. I'm waiting for more questions from the community. Um, Thank you again, and I
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
everyone that's listening. We will be actually having this put on there probably within the next 24 hours, so stay tuned. Thanks again, Julie.
All right. Thank you.
Uh huh.